Do we know of anyone coming on soon?
Text me and tell me.
Do we?
Very nice. I saw that when I was in
Michelle,
emergency room
Michelle,
today.
that's right, Michelle's coming on soon.
You may have it.
Okay.
So she might call in every.
Basic financial.
James, are you?
Good.
Michelle's supposed to come in, so.
Okay.
Oh, and there's somebody I know.
There's your boss.
Yeah, I know, right?
Let's see how you do. Good.
All right.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Benita.
Anybody else on Zoom?
Hello, Fred.
Sure. No,
Are
no.
you?
So we're kind of keeping an eye out for Michelle joining us. That's her plan anyway.
First one.
Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It's 3 minutes after 2. With that in mind, we are recording the meeting and we have everybody present except Michelle, but Michelle may zoom in at any moment, Michelle Herschel. And we have a resident, Chris Pence here as well. And we need, first order is to approve our minutes, so everybody got those. Thank you, Karen, for sending those out to us. And Karen, are you taking minutes or should I ask a volunteer?
If you can, yeah, if you can ask a volunteer.
Anyone want to
Yes.
volunteer to have?
Well,
us?
Zoom is dictating it, so I can.
Oh, perfect. Oh, wonderful. Okay, good, thank you. So the minutes from our February 10th meeting, we've reviewed those. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments about the minutes?
Very complete.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
good.
Pro fall.
Oh.
No.
Oh,
What's the fault?
yeah, that was kind of me this time.
I think.
You're too long.
Just one or two
It was-
details that could have been cleaned up.
Very good. Important.
That were just totally
Yes, gotcha.
attributed to the authors.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
More
so I
accountability.
need to have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of accepting the minutes from February 10th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, they're accepted and we can move on to the financial review. And Jason has been wonderful to give to us a year-to-date. And can you hand that to Chris and then you can hand me another one, Jason? And then as we look these over, or Jason.
I have
as you-
one extra.
Michelle.
Okay,
I already had one.
When Michelle comes in.
one extra.
All right, so go ahead and just give us an
Well,
overview.
there's several documents here. Black Mountain, which is our accounting software we use. Sometimes the terminology and nomenclature is a little different, but the more common, probably easier to read document at ground level is the budget versus actual. Kind of gives you a quick snapshot of what we've spent, what we've taken in, where we're at. There's also a trial balance there that you, a little more detail you can look at, but right now, if you kind of oversimplify it, but if you take what week we are in a year, divided by the number of weeks, kind of trick, we should be around 40% on expenditures. We're, right now, we're on the general fund, we're, so let me print this up. Pass it on. We're, about 46%. That's not really a static line, and that depend upon what expenditures, if you have big ticket items hit first of the year, that can throw things off. We just paid our quarterly payment to the fire department, which was almost 45,000. So as you look, this kind of, it breaks it down. Of course, the first few sheets is actually the revenue side, but did you want me to start on expenditures first, revenue first, what would be the?
Expenditures.
Okay, so you probably want to start on, about page, about the 5th page, where it says statement of expenditure budget versus actual.
Statement of
Yeah,
expenditure.
probably about 4th page down, it's, general fund, in the general fund, of course, legislative is the council, executive mayor elections, general administration, a little over on the, council mayor, when we did the budget, we didn't, that was before the election, and, there was some training that went to that, obviously that kind of threw things off a little bit, but not bad. On
What
administration,
line item are you looking at? I'm
oh,
sorry.
I was starting at, I was just generalizing on the legislative and
Okay.
executive, that,
Okay.
if you were wondering, there was some training, we didn't really budget for, at the time, we didn't know how the election was gonna go.
Right, 4 people had to.
And so there's some training and so that kind of, that's to be expected on the administration. 44%, again, the things I typically look at, salaries, benefits, things that are pretty consistent. Some things that, that are a little more fluid as far as supplies and materials, we're at 28%. Education and training, 27%. Still kind of early in the year. I went to a conference back in March. A lot of things I can get online now, so that helps out.
Yeah.
Karen typically has a conference or something she goes to. Summer does as well. I think sometimes Sharon might take a class from time to time, but, professional services, that's typically gonna be like your city attorney, that's gonna be your auditor. So you can see there, the audit, we're actually in the very beginnings of the audit. That's usually around $10,000, 11,000, by the time you pay that. Some of that's for the general fund, some of that's for where they review the water and the sanitation. So, you can expect that to go. Technical services, technical services, I guess that would be Black Mountain, would it, Karen? Technical services?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that and Brinks and,
Okay, yeah.
security and
Yeah.
Lawson.
Some of those, some of these line items, we may have mentioned this in the first meeting, but in Georgia, you have the Georgia chart of accounts, the public finance, a little different than private. So it's a standardized accounting system that every city and every county in Georgia or every public entity has to go by. So, 511100, if you're in Sky Valley, or if you're in Atlanta, if the accounting setup, it should be pretty close to the same. Gas, diesel, administration, a little hotter, we don't use much gas. But I mean, as you can see, I really don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but we do monitor this. I mean, I look at this, at least twice a week, usually around Tuesdays. And Monday, Tuesdays, and then again, as you know, we typically pay bills on Fridays. Karen will provide a claims list, and we look through it, and one of the things I do is she does a great job of making sure she's coding things right. 99.9% of the time it's right. I just double check for due diligence and make sure that we've got the money, that the money's there, and that there's nothing out of skew or out of spec. That's that. I mean,
Well, what I would say here is like, if you go back to that line item, under, let's see, it's 521300, the technical services, and you mentioned Black Mountain.
Black Mountain, that was, we use them for permitting, accounting.
Right.
Cash,
But
yeah.
all I was gonna
It's
say is
about-
we can drill down.
Yeah, it's about.
We wanna see.
It's like $19,000 with it. I mean, we just paid that, so.
But the point being,
Yeah.
at any point in time, we can ask you.
Exactly,
We have
yes, ma'am.
any concerns or questions, or we wanna see the drill down, he's done that for me
Yeah.
before. So we can look at
Yeah.
a drill down, and it
Okay.
will itemize all those expenses.
You can ask a couple questions if you don't mind.
No, that's.
You're already over on your legal well, it's about 75% of your legal services.
What is
Have you
that?
projected that?
line item?
That's account actually, 521200. And is that because the leases, or is that because Doug's done more work for you guys, or?
There's been a lot, you got a new mayor council, you've got, learning the ropes, we've had some things he's had to review, leases,
Okay.
the grants, other things, I mean, it's just a combination. But you never know what's gonna happen, I mean, there might be a little bit of an anomaly there, but we've had years that he's had before, with previous councils, that we've had high legal services, but, it just depends on what's going on. There are a few things, as we are in the pre-audit time, there are a few things that he has to do, and he's $150 an hour. So
Yeah.
it doesn't take long to add up.
It doesn't take long, and
Yes.
I was curious because in the council meeting, I hope not out of line, but it said that Jim had called him and Carrie Sue had called him and talked about things. Does he have an open checkbook for any of the council, or how does that usually work? And I don't know if I'm out of line asking a question, but I want to know, if that number's up and it's $150 an hour, that can run up real quick. And can
So is
anybody
your
from the
question, is it
council?
up year to year?
Well, my question is, can anybody from the council or anybody from the committee call Doug and ask him a question?
I've had this conversation with Mr. Kidd, and from what he has told me, and I don't think he said this from the standpoint that he's trying to get billable hours,
Right.
but he represents the mayor and council. And if the council has a question, that he has a responsibility to take their call. And of course, we have a fiduciary responsibility for the city's money. The council has the final responsibility for the city's finances. So I'm not trying to throw shade on the council, but
No, I was just
they
curious.
have the authority to reach out. It's just I guess it would just be a personal thing. I mean, if Mr. Curtis wanted to contact Mr. Kidd, according to him, he can do it. If Council President Pence or anybody, but that's probably the best way I can answer that.
Now, it was also mentioned at the meeting, just to kind of tag what you're going on, that ORRs are up. Those are
Well, exactly, yeah,
requests.
he's had to review a lot of things.
He's involved in those.
And, there have been some things as of late that has taken up quite a bit of his time, but that typically, it ebbs and flows. I expect that to settle down.
Okay, then I have another question under general, it says 531100, general supplies and materials. We're already almost $2,000 over for the year.
Are you talking about the administrative?
Yeah, I'm in the section that says general administrative.
Oh,
And
okay.
account 531100, general supplies and materials. We spent about 9,000, our budget for the year was 7, and we're 2,000 over. And here we are, 5 months in.
Oh, are you in the general administration?
Yes,
Okay.
Page 4 or 6.
yeah, page 2 of 6, actually,
So,
2 of 6, if you look.
Oh, okay, so actually,
No, I think he's
oh,
on.
you're talking about, buildings and grounds.
Yeah.
Buildings and grounds.
Yeah, we spent 8,900 and we budgeted 7,000.
Yeah,
So that's,
We had to, I could give you
I was
details.
just curious.
I mean, there's been a couple of unexpected expenditures. I know we had to buy a couple of pieces of hardware. We recently, resurfaced the pickleball courts, that would fall under that.
With the pole barn, that was this year.
No, the pole barn was like, we built the pole barn last year, but we just, I can, the good thing is you can do a drill down. I can actually go in and run it month by month. But yeah, I can let, there's something, yeah, but there's,
well, it's okay,
Yeah.
I do the same things, for my son's business budget, and it's hard to recall.
Well,
Detail, but knowing we
the
can
short
work it
answer is that with our county, I can, on demand, I can provide that information, but it escapes me for the moment, but I do know we had to make a couple of unexpected purchases that need to fall under that category right there.
We'll plan to look at that, and you can even do the drill down.
And maybe next meeting, hopefully I'll have a little more time, what I can do without, or if you want to, as a committee, as you look at this existing sheet, if there's certain items that you want to know about, next meeting, I'll do a drill down and provide those to you all.
There's also a structural problem, I think. Chris is pointing this out too, that, we're talking about a category here of general supplies and materials. And yet, every little breakdown in the budget has,
General.
supplies and materials, and gasoline, and repairs, and personnel, and FICA, and I think I would benefit from having an overall, consolidated citywide section in here, which we don't have, I don't think, that shows how much did we spend on personnel across the city for the year? Police plus,
I mean, I could run a report for that.
Yeah.
And then if you wanna say that.
The general supplies and materials is a sore spot. In that you'll see that it's over in several places. So
Yeah.
can we do every general supplies and materials, the current budget for it, all of them combined? Is that what you're alluding to?
yeah, like for example,
Look
people,
at, yeah.
if I hear the other folks complaining about gasoline, they're maybe they're the biggest
And
users,
that is
but the police are also, and what's the total impact of gas price increases on our total city budget? Is that really something worth worrying about?
Is the police fuel budget separate from the maintenance fuel budget?
Yes, sir. If you look at each category here,
Okay,
for example, 432,000, which would be at the bottom of page 2 of 6 of that second section,
yeah,
under fuel.
Gasoline, diesel.
In fact, I think it may carry over to the next. No, because,
Okay, there you go.
we're at, we're 35 cents, so they were, we budgeted.
2,000.
But I do expect that obviously, gas has gone up and we try to trend for that, but yeah, that is, but we also have a little more fuel efficient vehicles than we've had in the past. We've got a couple of newer vehicles.
that was a question I had, that it's a general question. Well, the question is, how many vehicles do we actually have
Total or for the,
total?
Both.
Well, how many in police and how many in the rest of the city?
we have six police vehicles.
Okay,
And then we have.
that's 5 cruisers in a truck, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Public Works has an F-150, 2 F-350, we have 1 F-250, and then we have 1 F-450. So let's 1, 2, 4. We have 5 trucks. No, actually, no, we have a Dodge too. We have 6 trucks. So we have 6 vehicles that are driven, and we have 2 excavators, we have a skid steer.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
Jim Piper, he
Piper's
did-
got
He does, yeah. Well, Jim's separate. Jim drives that little Jeep Compass. And then we have a little Honda here for City Hall.
Is that the one that's parked out here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
So there's 6 vehicles, 6 trucks,
So
so that
that's-
works.
so that's 8 vehicles for the city and 6 for the police?
Correct.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, and 2 excavators.
And, that's, we couldn't categorize that under equipment versus vehicles, but
Oh, and then how many Kubotas?
we have 3 Kubotas.
Okay.
3 Kubotas.
Feels like more.
How many
I know
grass,
they get around.
Sorry,
how
ma'am?
many
3 Kubotas.
3 Kubotas do the grass cutting?
No, they're the little side by sides. The one you threw the snowball at.
They're the ones I like to have for golf cart.
But but you know what, Mr. Mason? When those were bought in January 22,
22?
2 of them were bought.
Okay.
And a lot of folks criticized that the city bought those Tonka toys.
Oh,
But when the F-550 that slid off the mountain, the front end snapped on it, and the F-350 went down, we plowed 30 miles of snow with those 2 side by sides. Thank God for
I'm
it.
not, yeah,
No, I'm just saying, but we use them for so many things, and that you can drive all day long on 10 gallons of diesel.
you can plow snow much more precisely.
You can,
The issue is always where one
Yeah.
road tees in with the other,
I would,
and it's road shaped like a T, and it needs to be,
curves there. In fact, not to get off topic, but I've even had a conversation with Chief Bonas about maybe trying to get one of those for wintertime events, because if there's an emergency, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get off
You
topic.
have a little siren on.
Yeah,
top
well,
of
I
it.
mean, it would be a quip, I mean, yeah, we would have quit that, obviously.
Loud siren and a light.
But,
How many lawnmowers do we have?
we have 3 zero-turn mowers, we have,
Okay.
and then we have,
Yes, you did. Thank you.
probably a dozen weed eaters, probably,
Blowers?
probably a dozen blowers, probably a half a dozen chainsaws.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime y'all wanna, not to,
No, it's good to know, it's good to review.
you know, if y'all ever want the nickel tour, we'll let you go down and see everything we got, I mean, it's, but, yeah, we have, we have a bucket truck too. We have that when they go up in the bucket.
Oh, the bucket truck,
Yeah, we have that, and then we have, a roller paver. Remember y'all,
What?
roller paver, like for potholes?
Oh, the little
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
yeah,
um,
okay.
Is that versatile or is that just?
It's more for potholes, you're not gonna really pave roads, but, you know, about 3 times a year, we'll program about 3 or 4 good days, and we'll get a bunch of asphalt, and that's when they go out and we try to patch every many potholes we can. And we also have hydrovac, you've seen that, we use
That's a
that.
big deal.
We use that to clean out culverts, and we use that to, for water leaks and things like that, so a lot of that though has been purchased with T-Splosh, and of course, thank goodness for that, so.
Yes.
So it hasn't been, you know, that cost is borne by a lot of our touristy folks, but it hasn't come out of general fund.
Okay.
Are there any other, I mean, if you look at each one of these departments, we all have the same, you know, you have your fund, your, account, and your objects. The object is the expenditure item there, but you see a trend, roads, a little over on roads right now. Of course, as you see the fire, we're 50%, but we pay that quarterly, and we just paid that, so that would make sense. Culture and recreation, that's where we fund Independence Day, Fall Fest, Hay Bale Trail, all those things.
Where is that? Which one?
Culture and recreation, I'm on page 3 of 6.
Yeah.
We're at, 3%, I mean, we really haven't done much of that, we follow two items, housing development, that's Jim Piper. Jim's off today, by the way, but,
Is that where the culture and recreation, is that where, T-shirts that we provide for volunteers for July?
well, the Sharon, marketing has bought those, correct, the volunteer T-shirts?
They will.
They will.
Oh, so the marketing, it will come out of the marketing committee's funding? or
You know, and one of the,
Sometimes.
one of the things too, about the accounting, public accounting, and we have conversations with the auditors from time to time. There are some, I won't say duplication, but there are some line items that you can put something in, like, you might buy something that it would qualify to fall under small equipment, you might buy something that falls under, supplies and materials. But yeah, but then again, there's also places where you might could buy shirts through the culture and recreation, the marketing may do it. And then we have the shirts through the visitor center where we resell those. So there's other categories that things can be bought, so.
We've got 3 participants, correct?
Karen, about how many hours a week do you spend dating all the expenses and revenues?
Updating, I'm not sure. I'll never follow with the question. I mean, because as I put in a claim, or as we pay a bill, then it is,
Assigned the numbers.
yes, and that is credited to that particular expense.
Okay.
The what?
Is this a huge part of your job, or is it just a little thing, or?
It's automatic. Like when you pay a bill and when you got your line items, for the different accounts and object numbers, it automatically debits or credits whatever account.
When,
So you don't have to go in and manually, deduct, it's all
Okay, that's right.
computerized,
Okay.
yeah.
when the budget gets
Right.
still. I was just gonna say, when the budget gets passed, it'll be in November every year. Usually December, I key everything in, I key all the numbers in. January 1, we roll into the new budget. And as Karen, as she mentioned, she pays a claim. And once you assign the account object and, to it, our accounting software automatically deducts it from the total. So it's pretty straightforward. Of course, that accounting is cloud-based. It has a dual factor authentication, so we have the protection there too.
Okay. Any other questions for Jason at this point? We can roll into the audit review. Steve, I'm gonna just hand that over to you.
All right,
You most graciously decided.
I will attempt to be succinct.
Awesome.
I have a first cousin who lives in Donaldsonville, Georgia, which is almost as much southwest as we are northeast. And she was a practicing CPA. She retired a couple of years ago, but she did audits of small towns and counties in southwest Georgia for about 10 years. And so she looked it over for me. Her name is Margot Battles Harrell. She didn't find any material issues with the audit. She did have some comments. In her words, she noted several times in the audit, the auditor made the comment, no internal controls need changing. She thought that was and that's my wording, not hers. So she thought that was rather unusual.
You refer to separation of duties, Mr. Mason?
Yeah, internal
We're a
controls.
small city, I mean.
I know.
Yeah.
We face the same problem in the church, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Say that
And
again,
my-
no internal.
I don't have, just so you know, I don't have an event about this. All I did was look at numbers. So I don't know what's behind the numbers.
And that has been findings, not major findings, but, if we were a larger city, we had a finance manager. I'm signing checks, but I'm also reconciling bank accounts, but somebody's gotta do it.
Well, anyhow, she noted that water and sanitation revenue comes under business funds rather than governmental, which I didn't know, but that's where that is. The water and sewer is under the business accounts. So,
Enterprise?
Yeah, that may be because it's enterprise fund, and you can actually make a profit on that fund, so.
So, and to put this in perspective, I ran a small hospital when I ran several. The one I ran was a private nonprofit for 17 years, and we had an annual audit, so I'm familiar with audits, but not governmental, so that's different. At any rate, she found some minor things that I would call lack of attention to detail. There was one page, there was a number just missing, and it made everything not balanced. Well, it was just an oversight. Somebody didn't put it in. Now, question, I had a question, how long have we been with this auditor? And Beth and I were discussing it, and so, next year might look at a new auditor. It will cost more the first year just simply because they have to spend more time familiarizing themselves.
We have engaged with them for this year, but certainly as we get into next year.
Yeah, I read the minutes and saw where we have engaged them, so.
And we have provided them a lot of information.
One of the questions I had, I had a couple of questions. Is there a list of internal controls, or could the auditor provide that? Typical internal controls in the small government, So anyhow, one question I did have, and I've asked it previously, how many employees does the city have? And are they full or part-time? And what I was looking at was a position control that ought to be part of the audit. So for example, if you had a vacancy, I don't know if you have to come back to the city council to employ a new person, but if you had it in the budget and you had a position control group, you wouldn't have to go through that Chinese factory.
We had, when we were fully staffed, we had 20 full-time and 1 part-time person.
Okay.
Actually, we have 3 part-time people, but 2 of those 3 is, I would say, as needed.
Okay, yeah.
They're police officers, they may work 1 or 2 shifts a month. They'll come in on Independence Day and provide traffic control. But when we're fully staffed, we have 6 full-time police officers, 9 public works, 4 here at City Hall, and then we have Jim Piper.
Okay.
So
How
20.
many? Is that 21? 20.
6 and 4 is 10, and 9 is 19, and 1's 20, and you got 20 full-time and 1 part-time.
Okay. Now, okay, I got some other questions. How much, I asked you, how much by year was spent on sewer consulting? Going back to 2017, to my knowledge, that's the first report we had, the first consulting report.
Okay.
And it would be interesting to know that. And did it all come out of the sewer and water fund?
I'd have to look.
I don't expect it.
Well, the 17 study, I would have to get back to you, but I can tell you 100% that the studies that were done from 2021 came out of the water fund.
Okay.
With the notion that would be reimbursable, but it's around 70. So I'll get to the specific.
Well, anyway, yeah, let's don't take up time. Okay, so, I did some more homework while we were talking, while y'all were talking. The employee payroll increased 40% from 23 to 24.
Okay.
Now, from 699,000 to 980,000. However, I just looked at your financials and just did a projection. It looks like about 760 this year. So there was something, maybe we paid somebody off or somebody retired or something, but your payroll increased 40%.
That may have to do with some police reinstatements.
Yeah, don't answer now, just get back to us. That's the
Yep.
question. One question I did have.
One-time event would be.
Would you restate the basic fact,
Oh,
the total?
the total payroll
Salary,
in
total
2023
payroll.
was 699,000 and change. In 2024, it was 980,000.
That would correlate to.
In 2025, I project it'll be about 760. So there was some unusual in that.
I think it may have related to litigation.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
And remember, I'm only looking at numbers. I don't know what's behind the numbers. All it does is raise questions. Okay.
Another thing too, just is, it's, as you're seeing the increase, of course, everything's going up.
Oh, yeah.
For the past, since 2020, 2021, the council has done a 5% COLA increase every year. Of course.
Well,
So that's, yeah, so I mean, so that would account for some of the
that's the council's
increases as well, and
And we'll have that response.
and as some of the, if some of our employees have gotten critical certifications and licenses, they've gotten small appropriate raises and so
Yeah.
those things can be explained.
Well,
We have 2 guys with CDLs, 2 guys with work license.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yes.
One question I did have in the audit, it said that there was normally a management discussion and analysis, and that was missing. Well, we didn't have that in private business audits, so I don't know, but
Is that the relatives comment, or is that?
that was the auditor's comment. Said
I'd have
that
to
there's a
talk- I'd have to
management
talk with
discussion and
Ms. Nixon.
analysis, and it's missing. He didn't say why, didn't say it was bad, he just said it was missing.
Do we know what that is?
I don't know.
You know,
I can guess.
I could ask Ms. Nixon, you know, it's kind of interesting. Certain years, that like one year, part of the audit was we went and rode every mile in the city. But I could find that out for you.
Yeah, and is it something we should be doing? It sounds like something you would do, but I don't know.
It may be something I'm doing, Mr. Mason, but it's under a different term. But I'll certainly check into that. Maybe, I may know it's under a different name.
The legislation is changing, correct?
Yeah.
Coming up with more of a streamlined, auditing process for cities with budgets under 2.5 million.
Okay, we may call it something else. It is called an MD&A for management discussion and analysis is required introductory narrative in a government's financial report. So it's at the beginning of a report, an annual.
And evidently it's provided.
Basically, it's just your executive summary, sounds like that's what it is.
Well, I mean, we get, I mean, we typically, and God bless Karen and somewhere, like, cause we get a list about this big of everything they want. And so I would have to probably have that conversation with Ms. Mixon, because if it's something that she requires, we provide it. We it's kind of set up that way, but, if she didn't ask for it, if it's missing, it's probably because she didn't ask.
So the answer to how long we've had Mixon, it's been over 10 years.
Well,
Safe to say.
Ken, you've been here, what, since 18?
So I've been here 7 years, and I think she was here a couple of years.
So it's somewhere around there.
So, yeah, and I know that they recommend changing at least every 5 years.
Yep,
But,
that's what we're getting at, I think.
yeah, but that is, and I think Jay Green from Tacoma had done it previously.
Not-
Um,
And there's nothing wrong with their auditors, I am not suggesting that, it's just,
Yeah.
Well, I think they
You just get fresh
like
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense to come back to Mixon at some
Sure.
point maybe and do that. So that might be a recommendation we all want to think about making to the council.
Well, she is, one thing I will say about Joey, who's our primary point of contact, which we pay them a nice fee every year,
what do we pay them?
but it's around $10,000 a year for, that's, they look at the general fund and our utilities
That's
funds.
not bad.
But if I have a question or Karen has a question.
can.
Well, we're not, I hope she's not watching this, but she's not sending us a bill, for, if she takes 10 minutes to talk to us, so, I do appreciate that, and
Yeah,
it doesn't take 3 weeks to get a response from
And
her.
there is a benefit to having a long-term relationship as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there are.
And I've been here over 5 years now, so
It's a good benefit.
I know we have I have a pretty good understanding about what she needs or what she's gonna ask for. She mixes up a little every year, but it gets a little easier every year.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
And we're sort of a unique city too. I mean, just because you've audited cities before, you come to Sky Valley, holy, it's different.
It's just smaller.
Yeah. Well, it's unique. I mean, we got
It's
snow
unique.
plows.
That's a better word.
Well, that's
With
one of the
people
reasons I
in
live
and
here.
out.
Okay, just comments. Pension liability was 208,000. I don't know what that means. I think you were gonna educate me on pension. I'll come see you.
Well, I had sent everybody the pension plan, but yeah, we pay like a little over 6,000 a month. And this is, part of, with the pension plan, but that is how much each month that we're paying out.
Okay.
And then it involves like what is going out now to the retirees, and it projects on what will be going out.
No,
So they have a formula that they come up with, and that is, going for, for the current and then the upcoming. And like I said, they got the formula to figure out how much to charge us.
would you send it to me again? If you sent it, I missed it.
Sure. I'll do it.
Okay, in a private enterprise, I think we would call this a $504,000 profit for 2024. And you've got a significant margin in this budget too. And that's like 20%.
Are you referring to the general fund?
Yeah.
No, because in general fund, we can't show that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can't intentionally make money, but if the council approves a $1.5 million, $1.5 million budget, and we spend 1.3, and we took in 1.6, then, we're to the good.
Well, we're showing revenue, estimated revenue of $1,637,000 this year, and expenses, no, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Expenditures, 223 cents. No, that's not right.
Are you on 6 or 6?
Yeah.
The deal, but for this year, if you look at the very first page, the adopted budget for this fiscal year was $1,637,634.
Yes,
Of which we have received a little over 1.3 of that.
yeah, so $1,637,000, and expenses are how much?
And we have spent as today,
This
about
is
$755,000.
on page 6, so it looks like the budgeted expenses are $2,414.
On page 6 of 6, his expenses are 2,414,000. That's what Steve alluded to.
That would be an $800,000 loss. Or something. So just scratch that, I'll figure it out.
So what that is taken into account is the total of the general fund, the trash fund, and the water fund.
Okay,
That's where that 2.4 is combining those. It's a blend.
oh, the water fund as well.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's what, that
Grants
was.
will look at.
And that's separate, so, all right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's see.
Budget revenue.
Every question helps educate us. Keep that.
Okay. And if I figured it out, it looked like an employee can accrue up to 35 days leave. Is that fair? Or 30?
We would have to look at the personnel policy.
Which we're gonna look at next.
We have a,
It is generous.
we have a
Then
deal.
approve what?
I'm just.
Uh,
35 days.
Yeah.
Well, they can
Sick
accrue up
time.
to 280 per
I'm not
personnel
trying to change
policy.
everything, I'm just asking. questions.
yeah, we,
Sick time accrued, yes. Vacation accrued.
6 weeks,
Yeah,
no,
well, that'd be 30 days.
Oh, we'll look at that next.
8 weeks, excuse me, 8 weeks, well, like Neil, probably 8 weeks, yeah. He's been at 25.
But again, it's comparative to
Yeah.
what other
Yeah,
municipalities
they can,
do. for
well,
sure.
okay,
Much
so
discussion.
I'm done.
It's the one thing
Longer
to do.
than I expected to.
But no, it has a longevity aspect to it, the longer that you're here. So actually 7 weeks vacation is is very steps on that.
Well, thank you for doing that, and I know you put personal effort into it in hours of review, so I just appreciate that, Stu, very much.
Part of it is,
For sure.
part of it is self-education, so.
Yeah.
And
happy
getting
to do
details. Oh, Chris has a question.
Mr. Mason, if you look at on 404, the total revenue is 2.419 million, and the total expenses are 2.414 million. So it's almost a flat
Yeah.
wash.
It-
But what I think you asked was the management disclosure, and usually that's in the first part of the audit, it's part of the audit report, usually it's in there.
Yeah,
So I think that Jason needs to look at that and see why that wasn't there, why it's a requirement in the Georgia government law. And
okay,
secondly, I think that your question, I want clarity, that you want Jason to explain to you why we went from 699,000 to 940,000 in 3 to 4. You just like know that why we spent so much in
Yeah.
salary that line.
yeah.
So that's the
But-
clarity point.
but-
You would like, it's more than 5%, it's something
Well,
unusual happened in there. That's what you'd asked for.
but when I projected 25, it looks like that's an anomaly, like a one-time event.
So you just want to know
Yeah,
what that one of that
I
time
just-
is.
And
Yeah.
it was a litigation issue.
Well, whatever it is.
And I don't need to know the litigation issue, I just need to know the amount.
Okay, what page did you reference 404 at the very end?
I just referenced that the total revenue is 2.4 roughly, and expenses are 2.4. And so Jason's done what he's supposed to do,
Yeah,
spend the money that you bring it in.
it's balanced.
It balances, so if it's all the funds, it's what it
We
is.
did better last year, though. I expect we'll do better this year.
Before,
We made a profit last year. I expect we'll make a profit this year.
well,
There's nothing wrong
give
with
it the old
it.
college, give it the old college try.
Let me just explain for everybody's education.
Sure.
I ran nonprofit hospitals for, whether it's a nonprofit organization or not, the only difference between the for-profit and the nonprofit is a nonprofit doesn't pay taxes or dividends, but you still gotta make a profit. So even if this city's still gotta make a profit, otherwise we can't pay our bills.
Sorry, cash flow.
So there's nothing wrong with the profit, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we definitely do try to watch the dollars.
Well, I can see that.
And, we've done a lot of streamlining and try to reduce redundancy.
We're going to have to spend a lot of money on cybersecurity coming up, aren't we?
That's gonna be a new line item for a lot of municipalities.
But the good thing is we do have numerous grants available for that, so. Have we had any recent cyber issues? Somebody mentioned somewhere on social media, something to the effect that the city council or city hall's computers were compromised or something like that.
Or, not ours, but I have worked in the previous capacity of a place, and I know it's a nightmare. We got hacked when I was at Dawson County, but fortunately, we have not,
But this has not been an issue at City Hall.
no,
So that was not true.
we have not had any issues with any kind of attacks.
Thank you.
Well, remember Summer's email somehow was compromised.
Oh, she changed her password. right?
Yeah, we went through several
Yeah,
steps.
well, and Jim Hyber, I think his got, but that might have been, but yeah, but we haven't had any kind of critical, like, for example, with Black Mountain cloud-based, you have the dual factor authentication, so you have a login password, and then you have a second step, which is I have a separate login password. Karen has one, Sharon, Summer, and so our digital footprints are associated, fingerprints are associated with that. And that's all cloud-based.
Okay, great point, because we're gonna have to continue to look at that as cyber continues to beef up. Okay, anything else? Anything else on those financials or the audit? Again, thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it. Personnel policies overview, if you remember from our last meeting, we asked Karen to she's gonna send it to anyone who wants that pension plan again to look at this point, just send it to me as well. But let's look at, I asked Karen just to share with us, personnel policies, and we can, not that we need to go item by item, because I think the best thing to do is we have this and the handbook, and what we can do is we have oversight on this committee each year to review it and make recommendations. Karen's also been doing that and has some recommendations that she'll share ongoing throughout the year, really, as she comes across issues or things that she notices. She wears many hats, so we appreciate her HR hat on this one. But on personnel policies, I think this will be a item for discussion at the next meeting as well, so that you have a chance to look at it more thoroughly if you like, and then bring anything that you notice that could be improved upon, because Karen does plan to make some improvements to the handbook. My 2 cents before we get going, in all my years of experience with handbooks, it sometimes got us in trouble. And then all of a sudden, a large organization that I was a part of would make it more general. We'd back off on 10-page policies for one type of a personnel issue, and we'd back it to a couple of paragraphs in a handbook. So it just kind of depends on how specific you want to get. So a word of warning would be, in today's litigation-happy society, it's not always smart to have pages and hundreds of pages of lots of details that get you stuck in real specifics. that cause issues for the city or cause issues for individuals or anything like that. So it's best to say this is an overview of our policies, and that every time we deal with any kind of a personnel issue or whatever, it's individual. It's always specific to what happened, when it happened, and what any specifics are for the city or for employees or for volunteers, you know, whatever. So just having said that, when I reviewed it back in January, I actually was pleased with it. I thought, oh yeah, they don't have 10-page policies for one topic or one area. I think that's best. But yet it's clear that here's our attitude, here's our approach to that policy. And it's always a positive approach. I think it's very positive in Sky Valley. And I appreciated that about our policies as well. So that's, with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at it. And Karen, if you'll give us the overview, and then if we have questions after your overview, we can go from there.
If I just may put on my journalism hat, let's fix the spelling on the third line of the cover page.
That's Polish.
Now, this was before our time, let me just put that out there, okay?
No, that's why we're kind of looking. right?
Gotcha, 2013, your excuse.
I don't know,
That was a lot of revision going on.
Yeah,
2013.
and that's why I'm saying let's take some time in the next meeting, you know, so we have time to look at these, but Karen, if you want to just kind of go through the table of contents, if you will, sort of approach, and we can do it. So, all right. This is, I don't even think I have this.
Do you want me to make you another copy? Do you need that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
There you go.
Oh, we do, okay, okay, go ahead.
I made enough copies for everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just didn't know there was another one, but just a general, just go through the table of contents, Mighty, and highlight the area, because there's so much, right, to look through. So when you look at employee benefits, employment, work conditions and hours, there was a question about how people accrue their vacation and paid time off and sick leave, or sick time. And that's gonna be under section 2, employee benefits. So what I found was that it was very clear cut. This is how you accrue your vacation benefits, with working hours, right? And how you accrue your sick time. And again, they're generous, they're fair. Talks about COBRA, talks about any of these benefits. Now, typically benefits will be 30% or more of your total cost for having an employee. It's 30% above what you're paying for your employee to have these benefit programs here. So, you know, it's an important thing, and it's part of their package for sure. But anything you want to highlight for us, Karen, or that comes to mind? Now's the time to ask Karen questions too.
Yeah, not 100% sure, there is so much under each topic to go under. One of the things that, and I had mentioned, you know, if this is gonna be amended, like with their holidays, because we generally go with the state, like the state holidays are, that, you know, if we can, because there's been, especially since 2013, there has been some state holidays added, so if we could add that to our list of holidays that paid holidays. And there is, you know, with the benefits, there is, after a certain age group, because you have like the younger ones that really don't care about health coverage, and then when they get 30 plus, then that, you know, is a huge benefit when it comes to, you know, adding like family coverage and so forth. So one of the things too that we kind of like to see maybe, then it's not listed in the personnel policy, but, under like health benefits. And that was a resolution that was written back in 15. And it talks about there is a $700 allowance that is given per employee for health coverage. But health coverage has substantially increased, especially after last year when, or this year actually, when the changes for Obamacare and the subsidies was taken away, which we had a lot of employees that was, with the use that had was able to take advantage of the subsidies to get better health coverage. And now, the deductibles, in order to be able to afford it, the deductibles are so high, that, the health insurance is just, for, like I said, for them to be able to be reimbursed because it is like exceeding the $700 allowance. So that's good. One of the things that could be reviewed if possibly if that could be increased.
Now, $700 a month, is what you're talking about, and they are getting that on 2 paychecks? Is that correct, a month?
Well, I mean,
Or is
it's,
it just all paid on 1 paycheck month? I've got several questions about this.
well, I mean, there's 2 weeks on each pay period. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, and there's a couple months. No,
Yes.
that's right, 2 pay periods a month, correct?
Yes.
And they're like, okay, how many weeks there are in a month? Okay, so they're paid like on the 15th and the 30th or whatever it
Oh,
is.
the pay period's not every 2 weeks.
We're on 26, not
yeah, we just paid that out
You're on
monthly.
26 pay.
Yeah, not 24.
So
26.
it's every 2 weeks.
It's every 2 weeks, which is different,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
it's
changing.
fine.
Every other Wednesday.
Okay. Okay, so with that in mind, you're saying once a month, those 700,
Now, that's the max. I mean, we do have some people that is under that.
right?
But like if they, and one of the selling points and one of the benefits that was highly valued, that they could add family coverage. Especially with the employees that have small kids and they have that coverage for their family. And we would pay up to $700, for like on a family policy or just on themselves. But,
And it's dollar for dollar. If your health insurance is $603.12,
You get 600.
you submit the receipt
Yes.
to
So
Karen.
they get 100% of their premium covered,
Up to 700.
yeah,
up to 700.
and they do have to prove that they have
Yeah.
that coverage
Yep.
and they have to submit a receipt.
And this is
Showing that has
incumbent
been
upon that
paid.
employee
Up
to
to child.
hold that money to the side and
Yes.
pay it next month. So,
So, I have a question. What you're saying right now is that everybody has their individual coverage, no matter where it is, and we are reimbursing them for that. Why are we not taking advantage of the GMA, Georgia Municipal Association
But
coverage?
it's just a whole lot higher.
It's
They found out, and once upon a time, they did have it through GMA. A lot of the criteria that had to be met was healthy employees, and, we failed. To my understanding, we failed miserably, because they had, they take in consideration, health habits, weight, all of this kind of stuff, and all of that was based on what kind of policy that could be obtained by the city, and it was just astronomical. It was a whole lot cheaper for each person to go out individually and get their own policy, and then have a reimbursement plan. That was, in 2015,
Okay,
is when
because,
the council had done a reimbursement plan in order that they could be reimbursed.
because right now we have these alternatives with high deductible health plans with the health savings accounts, where your contribution is portable if you don't use it for that year. And as it's basically an IRA.
If we have it, do we have that benefit? Do
I
we
have that.
Yeah.
Us having that.
I don't think we do, yeah.
No, we
I
don't
mean,
have
things have
that.
changed over the years, is my point, so it might be worth
So I guess the
re-examining.
question is, could we set up a health savings account through GMA?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking, that's why I say, the last time we looked at something was in 2015. So much has changed in the healthcare marketplace since then, that it may
I
be
know.
worth having somebody take a look at that.
And I can do that. The thing about HSAs, when you, health savings accounts, it's usually for folks that know they have a medication every month, a high blood pressure medication or something, or an expensive medication.
No, I think you're thinking FSAs for that, not health savings accounts. Health savings accounts are a bank account.
You set aside your
You
own
set
money.
aside and they roll over every year.
FSA, you're right.
Now,
So-
maybe now, they didn't used to.
They do still, because I still have one.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think when
It
they.
Oh, I
just-
see what you're saying.
They didn't
We'll have to
roll over, which was a
And
problem.
have something that the
And
state
that lowers
or-
your premium and
Yeah.
encourages
Yeah.
healthy habits and stuff.
The Affordable Care Act did make a major change,
Mhm.
and I understand that. So if they had their family covered under the Affordable Care Act, and now the premiums for that are gonna be well above $700 a month for a spouse, employee, spouse, and family, I understand that, and so we would have to. So I think what you're saying is it hasn't been looked at since 2015's resolution that the city did.
Right.
For the $700 per month allowance for their health premium benefits, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to look at that again,
Well,
which
and
means the city needs to, the council needs to.
Yeah, and it's just the thing about trying to keep good employees. If we can offer, because being a municipality under such a tight budget, we can only offer so much and pay if we can get some kind of, and that was one of the things that, we have like a $10,000 life insurance policy that, we pay it out each month for each employee. And, $10,000 just don't go that far anymore. If, Lord forbid if something was to happen, and it is, I think a lot of places has at least 25,000. And that might not even be that much of an increase, what we're having to, pay out each month, but just little things like that in order to try to keep, good employees and.
What we'll need is some data. So we'll need some data about how many employees are currently on ACA and what their coverage is. So all in all, I would need, without names, but I would need to know each employee, what their coverage is, what, are they with the health insurance company or are they on ACA, and what are they covering, just themselves or themselves and families? And we would have to go from there in order to contact ACA or the state or for FSAs or even HSAs, we would need to have that information and how many, every employee is provided the life insurance policy, that's not unusual. So I would also like to do some benchmarking in Georgia specifically, which would be different from North Carolina or whatever. So I would only benchmark in Georgia to see what other municipalities are doing for their employees as well.
Would that mess up the people, I mean, you've been here 10 years and just making that up, and their spouse has the insurance?
And yes, there are rules in place that if your spouse has coverage,
Yeah.
then you have to divulge that to the employer. So to the city, you would have to say they have the option of their coverage first.
No, I mean, no, I think that might be a problem for some of the employees we have, and that may not matter because the budget is important, I get that. But if some people's spouse has it through their work entity, and it's 800 for family or 1,200 for family, and then we say, well, here, you're gonna have to get your own because we're not gonna give you any help on that anymore. But wouldn't that be
There are accommodations that can be made.
like I used to have to pay a fee because I was on my husband's, a penalty fee, basically.
There are accommodations that can be made. If your spouse has a better insurance plan than yours,
Mhm.
then you can opt out of your healthcare plan and do that, but I don't know how that works. I can't recall. It's been a few years.
I'm just thinking they'd look at it, because I mean, they don't,
You
A lot
get
of
a
people don't
benefit
think long
back
term.
is
Well,
how
it's-
it used to be done, like at the
but I'm saying
hospital.
they're losing $700 a month.
Yeah, if
is how
you
they
go
see it.
off of it, because you're going on your husband's, then there is possibility, I don't know how it works in municipalities, but there is a possibility that you would get a small amount given back to you for not being on our plan.
Like
But,
a stipend.
Yeah.
Or for,
Yeah, but I don't know until I see what we currently have. Have we ever had anything like that?
with the stipends,
Yeah, that you can recall? Yeah, so I don't even know if it's.
Does your husband pay for his insurance?
Currently, I'm retired, so he's on my insurance.
Oh, he's on your, but when he was working, was he paying for his insurance? Okay, so it doesn't matter who's paying for it.
Well, it
You-
wouldn't
You go on
matter,
his policy.
but it wouldn't matter if to these guys right now,
They
say
will
the
see
wife's salary is already paying for it, but they're getting the reimbursement, so it's almost like a little extra money to them.
Well,
And that's
It's a
why it
supplement.
was created and there.
But I think they would say, gosh, I just
the
lost
thing of that is,
$700.
in my view,
I know.
if they've got insurance and it's costing them out of pocket, then whether or not it's in his name or your name,
Which is the purpose of that.
we ought to be able to reimburse it.
Right.
Okay,
And
is
that's-
that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Well, I don't know that we're currently doing that. are
Mm-hmm.
We are, oh, we are, okay,
okay, well, that's good,
that's,
that's not fair.
Okay.
Um,
all right,
I have one, well, I'll wait till you get to it.
no, go ahead,
Driver rules.
to the what, driver?
Driver rules on page 26, it just jumped out at me. Would it be reasonable to add that any driver shall be licensed to operate the piece of equipment he's operating if it requires licensure, or words to that effect?
I think they do that already.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a liability for the city.
Insurance requires it, right, but it's not in here written, or is it written, is that?
No,
what
it's
you're-
not in there written, I just wondered about
It
it.
could be added easily, then.
If you're gonna operate a piece of equipment that requires licensure, you need to be licensed.
yeah, we definitely don't stick anybody, like with the CDL, if they're
Yeah.
required to.
Yeah, I mean,
Drivers of
I mean,
commercial vehicles are subject to additional
We-
policies. Federal Department of Transportation, so it's kind of covered at the
Okay,
very last paragraph. But the wording could be clear over.
Yeah, 'cause we ran into that when I first got here, because when we had the bucket truck, I've been here about 3 months. And I asked the previous public works director, what's up with that bucket truck? It's been sitting there because we had nobody that can drive it.
okay.
So we immediately sent somebody to get their CDL, and now we have 2 guys on staff. for CDL, so,
And it's an expense, to have people see,
The other comment I would make, and this is not specific to anything in here. We probably ought to, I've been here full-time 5 years, and we probably ought to look at the cases where we've had legal issues with employees and see if we can learn anything from those issues and update the personnel policies if needed.
if needed.
That's true.
And I don't know what the issues were, but ideally, we ought to be in a situation where even if they sue us, tough.
Yeah, well,
I think
There is a sovereign immunity clause for most municipalities on that, so I don't know how that would work.
Well, that's a very question. Sovereign immunity, does that apply to us? If so, then why are we paying these employees?
well, it depends on if they have a contract or not, because that changes your,
Indeed, okay,
it changes, the law
Absolutely.
changes with, if
Absolutely.
you have a contract.
yeah.
So if you're a contractual employee, then it's not the same as if you're.
I understand, I've had contract before, so.
Yeah.
In answering Mr. Mason's question, does your insurance company require you to give the driver's license of every employee that drives a company vehicle? It should be on every insurance policy you have, they should ask you for all the drivers that do city vehicles. And
They don't, I think that they leave it up to us,
but
you know,
we
because
certainly,
that, yeah, because we do, like when they're hired in, and we should be doing it every so often, we don't, but we should, running another check, if there's any violations, on
that
our
is something
drivers.
that we've
you
talked
should
about.
run it about every 3 years, and like anybody that, like, I don't know if you take the company vehicle down to buy anything, or if you drive it, I mean, you all should have, it should cover under your insurance policy that these people are authorized to drive a city vehicle.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
But
Well, usually insurance company asks when you renew your policy, provide us all the drivers of your vehicles. That's
our
our
insurance is through GERMA, which is,
Well, they don't.
it's a little different, but what we do absolutely, when somebody's brought on, depending upon the road, if there's a financial side credit, but minimum criminal, criminal driving, and then drug screen. And there have been a couple times where maybe we've hired somebody and we haven't gotten the driving record back, they just can't drive until we get it back. So sometimes it may take a day or two, but we do have that, we do cover that.
You mentioned initial drug screening. Do you do any additional drug screening after the initial?
We've talked about doing random, now if there's an accident, automatically go every time, but, no, we haven't done random, but those are the companies, we've talked about random, we've talked about even doing the routine, driving records, it's just,
Are they required to let you know if their license is suspended?
well, they should.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if we did, if we started doing that, I mean,
Maybe I'm getting too deep in the weeds here.
no, I mean, we have a lot of conversations with our employees, particularly in onboarding about expectations and things, and they know that a critical part of their job is, particularly public works employees, and you have a driver's license, you're really strapped, you really can't do anything, but, there's a little bit of self-accountability there, but, I mean, that is something that is Carrie mentioned that we probably need to start making.
I think a first step recommendation would be to do something like just simply ask for everybody to give you a copy of or to come in with their driver's license, every single employee.
And we got
that drives. Currently, though, I mean, how long has it been since you've asked for it, is my point. So if it's been 5 years since Joe has, provided his license copy to you, he needs to come in and do that.
Yeah, and I
Let's
mean,
say
that
that
is
it
the
would
thing.
start a 3-year cycle. maybe.
Yeah, if we go and start doing it annually, or quarterly,
Or every 3 years.
doing a, for the driving record, we could go and make sure that hasn't been expired. I mean, that the driver's license we have on file is not expired.
Yeah.
And we can ask for a
You can-
new license.
You can do that as well, but I think a simpler step would be just to say, if you ever drive, and you guys have the list of every employee that drives, just ask them to come into the office next time they're in the office or coming by and give you, any of you, the 4 of you in here can take it, their current driver's license. Make a copy of it, put the date, stamp date it, and put it in their personnel file. And then we know for sure that they have a current active driver's license. I'm just saying that would be a simple first step for 15 employees or however many ever of our employees are driving a vehicle. Do you see what I'm saying? So a simple first step. And then if we have one person that hems and haws or doesn't provide that, then we can maybe do a check on that person and then we can go from there. But it should be non-expired, obviously, and we can easily work.
Well, the check will just show if they had any speed violations or.
Yeah, but that's in addition. I'm just saying, ask them for an active driver's
sure.
license.
Yeah, just a copy.
Stop by, and you make the copy, or he makes the copy, or Sharon makes, whoever's here, whoever's in the office.
Mhm.
Just make a quick copy, and verify that they have an active driver's license. Not let them make the copy.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna, yeah, so. I don't, that's just a recommendation, that's easy, that we don't have to have council approval or anything like that.
Mhm. And then another thing that we need to add, is a social media policy.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to talk.
Right, or post pictures, that's.
Well,
Do you
I need to
have
go
one
get
in
something
mind,
off the computer, I'll be
or?
right back.
Well, I've got some examples.
I've got something I need to find.
But,
That was given to us.
Yeah, it's easy.
And I do think that as we update this, we need to also consider streamlining it. I don't know, and again, I am not against recycling, but I really don't know why we had a section on recycling in the employee manual.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Simpler is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they're not recycling, you're not gonna fire them for that.
Probably should. But anyway, so that's all agreed that we will review it. And we will come back next week with any additional recommendations that we have. We can go from there. And then Karen, bring you recommendations of some changes that you want to keep mentioning.
Define it next week.
I mean, not next week, next time. Next week, I was just saying next week. That scared everybody, didn't it? Next month, June, whatever it is, or
Next month.
August is something.
Well, do we have to,
We don't have to wait
what's
until,
with every 3 months?
no, what I said as I created all these committees was that you should meet a minimum of 4 times a year. And if you feel the need to meet more, or, well, not less, but if you, I assume that would give you a quarterly opportunity.
Yeah, but,
You don't have to limit to that, it's a minimum.
okay. because
Do we want to
I
come
don't
together,
mind-
or I
I
can?
don't mind meeting in a couple of weeks or a month. How about you?
Okay, I'll put something out to all of us and say, give a couple dates and say, do you guys want to meet here or here? June,
Yeah,
July?
yeah.
Okay, June or July.
And of course, you also are welcome to meet via Zoom. You don't have to, everybody congregate here. Although it's great to see everybody's
It is.
smiling
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a few more minutes. I'd like, did you have something? Oh, until I'd like to stop at 3:30, hour and a half. And, I'm gonna let you guys each check one of these. It's a thought. We don't currently have, and the mayor, brought this to my attention, because we got an email from GMA. Here's a couple more. In the 80s, they came up with what's called an employee assistance program. And when we first started administering this in human resources, it was a wonderful benefit. And one of the first benefits that I saw were people were getting counseling because that was AIDS, right? AIDS was rampant. It was a concern for our employees that were parents of adult children who were acquiring AIDS and dying of AIDS. I mean, there was a lot going on around that particular disease. And then there was something else after that. Of course, we can name a number of things in today's society that would require our employees to say, gee, I need some self-help care. Okay, and an EAP provides that. So at the very bottom, you see my scribbles there. The bottom line is it's $1.85 per employee for the month. And when you do the math, 21 employees would be $38.85 a month for this benefit to be provided through GMA, or $466 a year for a wonderful benefit. So just to highlight, you can see some of my underlinings. It is just in addition to their benefits. And again, I am a proponent of this, so thank you, Mayor, for bringing it to my attention. But when you have, and Karen told me that our police force has a PTSD option, which is different than this though.
Yeah.
But they do have
Well,
a
they're
benefit.
related.
Yeah, and for obvious reasons, they come up on an accident and
Yeah.
first responders do have that to deal with after they see that trauma. So, but that's separate and it's already in place, but it's very different than this. If you look at what the EAP offers, it is on-call counseling and crisis intervention, 24/7. You call in is what it boils down to. The confidential counseling, although short-term, I had employee after employee, I mean, just were, and it was never abused either. Because they'll vet you
No,
when
this
you
takes their
call.
time too.
Yeah, they vet it, and they gave us a report, so that would be one of my first questions. We did a monthly review, whatever, we get a monthly report that would say, here's how many employees used your EAP this month. So, I'm assuming that their contract would include that, although it doesn't say here, so that would be a question I would have. It's up to 5 counseling sessions per issue, and those counseling sessions typically are an hour. Okay, so you call on a phone and you get a counselor, or the counselor calls you back, you make the appointment. They go, yes, we'll have somebody call you back, and what are some good times and such. They're very thorough typically. And
On a related issue, how many veterans do we have working for the city?
Oh, I don't know.
Good question.
At least two.
At least two,
At least,
Ron and David.
Yeah.
I don't.
yeah, I mean,
don't know.
any group really benefits. Now, if you keep going down, the legal guidance, up to
Yeah.
30-minute consultation and a 25% discount on fees after that. It's just a fabulous benefit. And I know early on, when we were in our 30s, there was something, I said, Dad, because my parents were living with us, I said, Dad, I can use my EAP for that. And I called for personal advice about monetary or some kind of estate planning or something.
comprehensive.
And then we were put in contact with somebody that ended up helping us to do that.
I certainly would be in favor of it.
Yeah, the financial resources, CPAs and budgeting and mortgages and retirement. I mean, when you got employees close to retirement, it is a fabulous thing for them to call and retire. And what it does is it hooks them up too with a professional. Many times it will hook them up with a professional. And again, they'll get some kind of discount fee because that professional knows, hey, I get referrals from the EAP, so I give that discount. Because the city of Sky Valley is in that EAP, you guys get a discount with my firm, that kind of thing. And then work-life support, assistance with childcare, elder care, pet care, housing, that type of thing. Self-care tools, access to COA care, someone help me with COA care, I'm not remembering. But it's wellness, yeah, adjustments, but anxiety, stress, mindfulness, sleep. I've got a daughter right now that's struggling with a sleep issue because of back pain. So, I mean, anything like that you can call and it would qualify for this. And then again, it's only a few meetings, but in those meetings, you get help and you get the referral. The employee gets help. And they would come back to us really right, I even get goosebumps thinking about it. Just employees were so grateful that they have a teenager that's going through a rough time or getting in trouble at school. I would say, have you called the EAP? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
We offered something like this for students, and it was very.
Yes,
It's a
it's
nominal,
fabulous.
nominal cost.
Yeah, now, the question I have now that I know that we don't have a healthcare plan is whether this is covered under the life insurance plan that we have. As it says healthcare and benefits, so that would be a good thing to check on. But since it says life,
And that, you know.
I would expect that it is covered.
And I did.
That's a good one, Jason, I saw that in one of the GMA emails,
Yeah.
the EAP plan, EAP.
We don't.
Yeah, and I suggested Beth that
Well, I mean,
have the
as
committee
far
look at
as,
this.
I'm thinking.
As an employee benefit.
We don't do that. We don't distribute it like that, but we pay,
Okay.
like I said, with the calculations, you know, because they figure out how much is the risk. So. Calculations.
Okay,
This-
hang on a
okay.
second. I'm hoping to finish the conversation and then.
The back end, with
That's right, Lisa.
the current and upcoming, like I said, they do all of that on that end. And
But I would do it, I can't ask for the house, but I just,
She said we're ending at 3:30, so you better speak fast.
well, yeah, I'm gonna take 2 seconds to talk about this.
Okay, so to wrap this up, I will check into those few questions that we have. Does the group want then it to be brought about the EAP? If it's viable, next time you meet, give you the details of it.
Yes,
And
seems
if
like
it's,
a great bargain.
yeah, and if we want
And
to
it
spend
seems like a
$466
valuable
a year, or thereabouts, then, we'll make this available to every employee. So I'll ask those few questions. Okay, and I'll report back if we meet in June or in July, all right, on this, and we can take it to the council.
Yeah, you have 5 more seconds.
I do,
What I just handed you all, this goes back to 2022.
4 minutes.
Well, and I promise y'all be quick. We have he comes about every 3 years. Steve Shields is the risk management guy. We typically spend about a half a day with him. He gives us a list of recommendations. Some of this stuff has already been taken care of, and most of it has. But some of the HR, PRs, personnel stuff, it just, I guess it just got kind of put to the wayside, but when you were talking about the whistleblower and social media, those are just some recommendations that he had suggested. And I guess it just kind of got put on the back burner but all the things going on. The other things, there was a lot of safety things we addressed, but he had just notated that, but since you're talking about
Thank you.
updating the plan, the social, and I had actually tried to work on some of that social media stuff as again. And usually what we do, and I know I said 30 seconds, I'm over, but what we normally do is, you know, like for example, most employees get a city cell phone. I say, don't go anywhere on that phone, you wouldn't be embarrassed, your grandma would know. And then, as far as like posting social media things, usually I just tell folks, stay on Facebook. You can't control what people
That's
say,
good advice for anybody.
but, you know, but here's the thing, you know, our guys are out plowing snow, we're out there working. It is tough to have that because, you know, their wives, their moms are home and they call and they say, you know, when are they gonna get to my road, what my taxes paid for, that kind of stuff, and they're out there in 28-degree weather plowing snow, nothing happened with them. But the social media thing is a tough thing, and it's something
What's your policy on weapons?
the weapons, we don't really have one.
Don't have,
Most of them.
because you got concealed weapons, who can have a
Well-
concealed weapon in this building, or can
At
they?
the very least, I would
There's
say,
all kinds of things.
anybody, police, but the thing is, you've got people out here and now the risk of an incident in Sky Valley is very, very low.
I would not, I'm not trying to sing Karen, sharing out, but if they have a pistol in their purse, I'm glad, I wish that my wife and my mom had a pistol in their purse. I know this is being recorded, but
I have a
I'm
concealed weapon.
saying, don't ask, don't tell.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those kind of things that, you're right, Mr. Mason, you never know in this world
But
who's
the
gonna
thing
come
about-
in.
The thing about it is, I would like to have a policy that establishes the circumstances under which your employees could carry a weapon. And that way they're protected.
And I'm betting that GMA has.
Yeah.
it down.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and, you know, we could, and I'll be honest,
But they're not everywhere.
No.
I
These
could,
guys are out fixing sewers and fixing roads and mowing on.
And
mowing the side of
trespassing.
the road and trespassing too.
I mean, it could be perceived
Yeah.
as such, yeah,
So,
not that they are.
I mean, and I would be glad to, at a future meeting day with a little advance notice. It's probably about time for Steve to come in. Not to overburden y'all or add more folks, but he is a great resource that could, as you're looking at things,
Is there a way to make this a shareable document for the committee so that you can annotate it with your comments and
And then-
suggestions? So that there's a working document for everybody?
Well, Sharon has for a PDF converter that I can, scan or
A
send it
Google
to her
Doc
and
or
she can
something
send it
like
to you
that?
as a Word doc. Is that what you're talking
Word
about? Where
doc,
you
yeah,
can go
where you can
in
go in and
there?
make your comments and or share as a Google Doc where you can highlight what you think needs to be changed
And
or
each person can have
updated.
their own color. I've done that before
Yeah.
too, where, you know, you can have your own color, where it's, you know, and you know, you're red, I'm green, you're light blue, you're dark blue, that kind of thing too.
And
Good suggestion. So I'll get with you two and I can, if you send me the PDF, I can transfer it to a non-PDF so that can
we
happen.
have converted.
I have that.
You have that? Okay, so I just don't wanna overburden you guys when, you know, one of us can do it too.
I'm not saying it'll be pretty,
It doesn't have to
because
be.
you know, sometimes it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
but-
right.
but it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, you're right.
well, you can do it, let's send it to her.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm just volunteering because I know you guys have a lot on your plate, so.
you might also have a policy that says no weapons in the building, with the exception.
Yeah.
That would be useful, just like every federal or major city building.
with
And
the
what-
exception of authorized individuals.
Yeah.
And every time we
And
have a
then the
meeting,
sheriff,
we have.
and
police
then if
officers.
you've got one in here and you're authorized, you gotta wait.
It just makes me a little nervous as a citizen to think that, I don't know if they do or not, but if Public Works was out there loaded down with pistols, I mean, it's just, we don't know, no offense, but, we check their driving record. We don't check anybody's mental stability,
Well,
we don't check
okay.
anything else, and that just
See,
makes
that's-
you scary.
When I,
GMAs would be very thorough. on
in,
this.
in a previous position that I had in management, I had a Jim Piper equivalent person, code marshal, and he carried a sidearm.
Yeah.
And we had to go to a site one time on a complaint call. And the guy, and the person that was being complained on for high grass said, you're making a statement without making a statement, having that sidearm. So we stopped him from, it was deemed unnecessary to have a pistol to go. Anyway, I don't get off in the weeds, but
I will check on that. as well.
Yeah.
We don't have a police station.
Give me about a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
To
we pay
have
a
Well, I
lot,
gotta read this.
we do pay a lot of money to GMA
Yeah.
as for our membership, so we
Yeah.
might as well make the most of
and
their.
Pete Brzezinski is another great resource that could come
He
in.
presents.
He's our regional
Where
rep.
you emails from.
Yeah, Pete can do training
Per EYR.
for Pete Brzezinski. He's a retired, or former city manager, public works guy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you may have met him at your training. Yeah,
Yep.
Pete lives down there, I think, Elberton.
Okay. So we've got a lot to look at. I'll send out an email initially about meeting in June. And if we can't do that, then we'll target July, after 4th of July activities. Remember the hot dog, public works, right?
Friday, this
It's
Friday,
Friday.
from 11 till 2.
11 to 2.
12
down at the
Oh,
pavilion.
yeah, well, I told the guys, I said, we got such dedicated employees, I said, guess what, you get to cook hot dogs for your own appreciation. But I plan to be out there with them too,
That's the
so.
city council.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, unabandoned
Good
units,
test.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as.
Yes, I'm sorry, so
Rain or
do we have to
shine.
formally adjourn? It's just a committee, I don't think we have to set